Okay.
I was enjoying that.
I know. Yeah. I saw you grooving, but I didn't I didn't want to keep everyone waiting. So, great. So, first of all, to everyone, just to explain really quickly, we just finished having the screening of The New Normal, which
Yes.
was excellent. So, thank you for that.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
and like as the way you put it, the new normal, we had some technical issues over here. So, so but luckily, we were able to connect with each other just in time and continue with the Q&A. So it's no longer on the Avinti platform, but it is still streaming out on Facebook and on YouTube. So everyone
Yes.
can join from there. And afterwards, anyway, it will be recorded and everyone can, whoever missed it, will still have a
Can
chance
see
to be
it.
able to see it.
Yeah.
So we're here with the director, which it's also nice to
Yay.
have a female director as well. So,
Yay.
yeah. So you can introduce yourself and let us know your name, where you're from, and how long you've been in the industry.
Hmm. So my name is Teniola Olatoni, and I am from Nigeria. Yes, and okay, so I'm just really excited to be here. So pardon me. I'll get to the real thing eventually. But yeah, so it's the new normal, and I've only just so. This is like a third, fourth career for me. And I've always wanted to make movies. It's been, 20 years in the making and just looking forward to eventually doing it. But life happened. And then in 2018, I thought to myself, okay, that's it. New Year resolution, do it or shut up. Just stop. So packed it all in, went to film school for about 3, 4 months just so I know what everybody's doing and know exactly what I like and what I don't like. So that's it. And then after that, I did a theater production. I was a producer for that, The Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives. And then I thought, okay, film time. And I just wanted something about people like you, like me, just daily struggles. We all have something we're dealing with, and we can all be a little bit kinder to ourselves and to other people. So that's what I wanted to show with the new normal. And I'm hoping that, everyone can just take a little bit away and just realize everybody has issues. So, you know what? Forget the fine face, the facade, and there's a lot going on. So everyone's dealing with something. So just be that little bit kinder. So I'm really glad that, I got to show here. So thank you. Thank you for the selection and thank you for the screening. And I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. So like I was telling you before we went live, I was saying that I was looking at the comments from the watch party in the chat, and I was also receiving some personal comments as well. And so
Oh,
far, so like
nice.
a lot of positive ones. I
Oh,
mean,
I'm
your film
happy.
there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of drama in it. It's showing people going through things, but then you've balanced it up, with humor as well. And there's like, some
Yeah,
parts
there's
that you're
always
like
a
right when
chance
you're,
to
yeah,
smile.
exactly.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
I
which
mean,
is
like
great.
that's life. That's life. Sometimes it's really tough, but if you remember to keep your head on,
Mhm.
smile, you'll get through it. You'll get through it. It won't always be happy endings all the
Mhm.
way, but you will get through that moment and you'll find that, the next moment presents something else. So, that's it.
And
Yeah.
and also we found it interesting too. Like you focused on 40-year-olds, midlife. I mean, I
Yes.
know midlife crisis. You can look into that, but um, sometimes in Nollywood we're seeing like a lot of
Younger
stories about,
people.
yeah, yes, exactly, about the younger generation. And you were
Mhm.
taking this actually to a group of 40-year-olds. What was the reason for that?
So first of all, I am 40, I'm in my 40s. So for me, that group of people, I find we are probably, so the younger generation have the benefit of we don't care, we're young, we can make mistakes, we don't care. Nobody needs to hold us responsible. So people will say to you, well, you're young, they don't know, so it's fine. We'll let them get away with it. Now, the much older people, get the breaks of he's an old man, leave him. He's behaving badly because he's old. Just ignore him. We all do that. But for this age group, everybody holds you accountable.
Mhm.
You know, this is the age where suddenly you're supposed to be wise. You're supposed to be on top of your game. You're supposed to have everything figured out. And half the time we really don't. So for me, that, you know, that group of people resonates with me, obviously. But apart from that, I just thought, you know, sometimes you just have life has gone, you've done everything that you should be doing, you've gone to school, you have jobs, you've made some money, but it doesn't stop life's challenges. So how do you deal with it? At the same time, you're trying to balance society's perception of you. I mean, anyone who's African, I'm sure it's not only Nigerian, all over Africa, you know what it's like. You have to look good. Whatever it is, we don't show our problems, we don't discuss it, we don't, nobody wants to know what's wrong with you. Just present a nice, happy front and we're okay. But people have issues and we have to talk about those things. We have to stop trying to control everything and let people be. I mean, I particularly like the young man's story because it was essentially, it's what our parents do. Do this, then do that, then do this. And you're just like, I'm old enough to make my decisions. And our parents have done it to us. Should we then continue to do the same? You know, so can we pause and take a moment and just say, okay, you know what, I didn't like it when it was done to me, maybe I shouldn't do it. So that's essentially it.
And you know, you were touching on the thing about we all have issues and problems, and that's another big theme that we've been seeing coming up. And I see that one of the lead actresses from your film, she's here, and I want to bring her into the
Meg.
discussion. Yes, Meg is
Yes.
here, because she is in this she's in this film as well as another film we have in the festival, both dealing with
Yes.
these mental issues. So I'm going to bring her into the discussion right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hi,
Hello.
Meg.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry, my audio may not be very clear because it's raining heavily over here.
Emily, yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. So far, so good. We can hear you so far. So
Oh.
I was just saying, you know, you're in this film that's dealing with that touches a lot on different psychological issues and kind of like the need to show it and to speak about it.
Yes.
And you're also, you know, in another film coming up in the festival for Maria that, you know, again that hits on that.
Yes.
For you, like, what in this question can be for either one of you all, but you know, we're noticing a lot of films coming out, especially like from Nigeria, where you know there's a lot more attention being paid to that. Like, because we also even had a film screen earlier today about a boy that again was about that mental and psychological trauma and that need to kind of discuss it and to look at it and to reflect on it. Why do you think that this is suddenly becoming, you know, such a crucial element in films and in a lot of things that we're seeing now? It's for either one of you all to answer. Meg, if you want to take it, or
go on, Meg.
Okay. For me, I think it's about time.
Yeah.
You know, it's about time we address or we begin to address this issues, like, you know, important. Not that their stories, some stories are more important to tell than others, but we're storytellers. Where if we don't tell our stories, who's going to tell them for us? And you know, witnessing this period in Nollywood where people are just, like you mentioned, you know, embracing these topical issues and just, you know, attacking them and just revealing everything. For me, I think it's this is why we're here. This is why in the industry, you know, this is the gift that's been given to me by God, and I want to put it to good use. I want to tell the stories that are important to me, important to my people, stories that need to be told, you know, stories that need to be heard. When it comes to mental issues around mental health, ours is a society where a lot of things are blamed on, you know, spiritual issues. You know, if somebody's having or going through any kind of form of depression or any kind of, you know, mental health related issue, they are quick to say, oh, please go to the pastor, go to the priest, go to the imam, you know, pray and fast and you'll be fine. That was what our parents did. And these things were not addressed, were not talked about openly because of some kind of stigmatization. It's almost like, oh, for you to openly say, oh, you're feeling a type of way, anything that may be related to mental health, it's almost like it's demonic.
Taboo.
Like you're being,
Yeah.
you're under some kind of, I don't know, blame it on the spiritual, however it goes. So people are embarrassed to talk about this thing. So for me as an actor, I'm just happy that we're getting to a point where people are bold enough to address these issues. I must say, it's not these kind of movies are not accepted or embraced by the country as a whole. You still have a demography of people who are not interested. If I can put it that way, they're not exactly excited to watch these topical issues. Oh, it's boring. Oh, it's too serious. They want to go laugh. But we're happy to tell these stories and to continue to tell them because they're important to us. And I hope filmmakers are not discouraged. Directors, actors, producers are not discouraged and just continue to address these issues because, like I said, they affect us. There are stories to tell, and we would definitely do a better job telling our stories than people from or foreigners or outsiders. So yeah, I'm not sure that answers your story, but yeah.
I'll just like to add that yes, we are a society that has sort of kept it quiet for so long, and because you're really expected to jolly along. You can't. I for me, I look back now, and it's only now that I can say that I think that probably about maybe a little bit longer, about 10 years ago, I probably had a period of about 2-3 years that I was going through something. I couldn't identify what it was. I just know that I was moving. I couldn't just stay still. I just kept moving, doing different things constantly in my office. Like I couldn't stop. And it's only sort of 5 years later, I can look back on it and say, Tenny, you were going crazy. And that was, you just wouldn't stop and recognize it because no one will let you be. You can't even be, for me, I'm like, Nigeria is somewhere you can't even be depressed in peace. They won't let you because everyone expects you to jolly along, get it done, just keep it moving. When I said I wanted to deal with, kleptomania and sex addiction, everyone was like, well, that's not obvious. Yes, I know drugs is, a more obvious mental illness. And yes, but you know what? And someone said, well, kleptomania, that's not very popular. It's not, it's not like something we deal with. I'm like, think about it. Almost everybody knows that person who we don't quite understand why things go missing when she's around, but we kind of guard our little trinkets a little bit more because we know she doesn't need it, but she's our suspect because every time she comes around, someone loses one earring, someone loses something really insignificant, but there it is. So it's just that there's so much stress as well with life. And so if we start talking about it and letting people express, seek help, you can't have children. Start festivals before you climb the mountain. Can you just check what is wrong? If you really do need a mountain or you just need 2 doctor appointments, So that's it for me. I'm glad that we're addressing it. I'm glad we're shining more light on it because it just has to be done. That's it.
And I strongly agree with everything that you're saying there because if it's not talked about, and sometimes people don't know, if you don't identify it and you're in a society where it's not even being addressed or talked about, you don't even have a word to put towards it, and you can feel isolated in those feelings.
Yes,
so it is with like a lot of films and things like this that there's a bigger importance there where people are understanding and seeing, oh, I'm not alone, or I've dealt with this, or I've gone with this, and that's always a great thing. And then on a lighter note, I do want to bring up, so we are a French-based festival. And so you do give a shout out to France. I don't know if in the best way. I don't know if it's in the best way, but Meg, you do speak French in real life, not just in that role.
Yes.
And so I have 2 questions about languages. Well, so first of all, your character is supposed to be from the north, correct?
Yeah.
From the north of Nigeria. And, are you originally from the north, or did you learn the language, or how did?
Yes, I am from the middle
North,
belt, but
north,
technically is,
yeah.
yes, it's northern Nigeria, north central is the region. So yes, I am from the north. It's a
Okay.
bit tricky because over here, when you say you're from the north, people assume you're Hausa
Far
speaking.
north,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not Hausa speaking, but I happen to come from the north.
Okay, but you don't speak Hausa.
I get by, but not very. I'm not very fluent.
Oh, okay. So then, and
It
so I
didn't show.
also, yeah, and then also, you know, we learned that you speak French, and how did that come to be?
Oh, okay. So I schooled and I lived in Tunisia for a bit. I also while there I also did some training in France in Université Jean Moulin at Lyon. Yes, so I had to learn French.
Oh, okay, great. So I know already like that gives you an extra shoe in and with our audience.
Yeah.
We had Ammonia Bully come one year, and she said a sentence or a phrase in French, and the audience went crazy because you know you never because we usually have these
Oh,
separations between like the
oh
Anglophone
yes,
countries and
yes.
the
I
French.
have
Phones
my
Yeah.
and the
friend where I spoke a bit
francophones,
of French
yeah.
with the yes, that's true.
Yes. So it's always great. Okay. Well, you all had another cast member, I believe, that was supposed
Yes,
to
Chosa,
join in, but I think she might. I don't.
Mofe.
There were two that. Yeah, there's Mofe and
There are two
another
of
one,
them there. Toby, yes.
but they're not showing up anymore. I don't know if they're having connection issues because they were there and I was going to bring them in, but I don't see them. So if
Okay.
you want to reach out to them and let them know, you can just see if we can get that. But yeah, and I wanted to also know in terms of when the new normal, because when it was released, did it release in cinemas in Nigeria, or what's been kind of like where has this been shown so far?
So yeah, we had a premiere first, and that was pretty well received. But obviously, because it was in November and there was COVID, so it was kind of the second wave was just coming up on us, and it was hard to. So we didn't get, and then we went to the cinema, but didn't get as much of because a lot of people were still sort of going back into fearfulness and not coming out as much, but also because obviously the cinemas had been closed for most of the year. They had so many films. And so we were in the cinema for a couple of weeks and stayed at one for a bit longer, and then we left. So I'm happy that, you know, all the feedback we got from the people who saw it was really positive. So that's really something because it's not typical of Nigerian movies. You know, the ones who sort of there's always it's real like heavy comedy, and that's what usually people go out for. So I'm quite happy that people actually took the time, watched it, and gave really great feedback. We also just need to for me I feel like it's also yeah, watch it in the cinema, but it's the kind of film that I feel like I wanted to create something that people will always go back to, and you could watch it 5 years from now and it won't feel like it's outdated. It won't feel like what's this talking about. So I mean, one of my favorite films is The Best Man, and I watch it every time. It's showing. I mean, I'm just flipping through channels on TV, I see it, I find myself stopping. So I'm really hoping that more people will get to see it and enjoy it, and we can keep making more. But we really do have to tell stories. You know, you can laugh, but a story should tell you something, should show you something different. And I feel like we do need to, we're not all dumped down. That's not true. You know, as Africans, we're talented. You know, we've got a lot going on. We have stories, light ones, heavy ones, and they all should have voices. So we can't all make the same kind of films because I mean, I watched the short films yesterday, and it's so interesting because there was, you know, a set of 5 of them I watched and they were so different, you know, and I'm like, we've got different kinds of stories, and that's how we should be. You know, we can't all be the same. We can't have the same stories because we all go through different things, and some things are relatable to all of us, you know, but at the same time, we can tell them in different ways. So that's it for me, the creativity, and just keep telling those stories and putting us out there in a positive light. and let's learn from it. That's it.
And in terms of the production process, how much time did it take for you all to work on this film, like from the beginning until the end? And the other question
Ah,
with that is that was a lot of that production time during the height of the pandemic when you did have lockdown, and how, I mean, just walk us through that in terms of how you.
so the strangest thing was I started this in February
Tenny, before
20.
Tenny,
Yeah, yes,
before you respond to that question, I just have to say this. There's a
yeah,
scene, there's a dinner scene. I know, I have to talk
yeah.
about that. The dinner scene took a whole talking of production
It was
time.
a whole night,
The dinner
27
scene
takes.
took a whole night to shoot, and we almost lost our minds because they
Had to
wanted
prep them up
the
with
director, the
brandy.
DOP wanted the style where it was all one take. So you had a scene
Yeah.
with how many of us, like all the principal cast in the film, were on the on the table, and we were just filming. They wanted one straight take, and we just couldn't get one straight take, and it
It was
was crazy.
crazy.
We did
So
how many takes? 27.
27.
About 27 takes, yes, all night. Sorry, I just had to put that there. Yeah, it was crazy.
I no, but I mean, I can imagine, because I mean, when I was looking at that scene, I mean, which is definitely really interesting. The way you have that camera like moving with the
Conversation.
tray, and
Yeah.
really kind of showing that awkwardness. But yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that, like how, I mean, now when you say that, like it took all night, I mean, I could just imagine that.
Yep.
And then you finally kind of
Because
get further to it, and so that one person messes up their line, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
back from
that's
the top.
exactly what it was all night. That's
Exactly.
exactly what it was. As soon as someone gets it right, somebody else
Crazy.
messes it up, we
Yeah,
start again.
start again.
It was a crazy one. For me, I
And
just
at some
wanted
point, we
something. I
were
thought,
almost pleading. We're begging the
yeah,
directory and the DOP, please, can we just like cut and paste? Can we just, and then they said, no,
I'm
we
like,
need
nope.
one straight take. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it came out beautiful. So
Yeah,
go
thank
ahead.
you. So I had this crazy notion. I thought, you know what? If people are having a conversation at a dinner table, it doesn't go back and forth. So some people are slightly distracted, talking about something else, then somebody says something loudly, everybody looks to them, and then, it just kind of goes round. So I'm like, okay, how are we gonna give this impression like, and then just to really show the awkwardness, because for me, I say to everyone, watch it from the beginning, because from the opening scene, you'll understand from the very first scene with her in the car, you'll understand it at the end. So it's important to watch the whole film. And for me, I wanted the dinner to be the jump off, like there's certain things, don't miss it, and just really see the awkwardness and wonder what is going on. What did she do to them? Nothing. It's just that sometimes that's how you just find yourself in a situation where people just, your presence is just awkward. You don't even know why. They don't even know why. They just, So for us, the production, so I started working on the script in 2019 in February. And so I had these series of short stories that I was actually just going to do a series out of. And then I thought, you know what, let's introduce the characters. I think they actually work quite well if we pick about 5 of these stories and they'll work well together. And that's what we did. And that's how it became the new normal. It was all done before the pandemic. So the name is really weird because I'm like, the new normal. I don't know where that came from. It just stayed with me. And every time someone said, oh, okay, the new normal, maybe think about this or maybe that, I was like, I don't know, but it's just ringing. That just seems to be, I feel like this is, just people, human beings. It's the new normal. And then boom, 1 year later, it's pandemic and the new normal is the new normal. So incredibly, I was already in
So you
editing.
came you
I
came up with
shot
that name already before, without nothing to do with
well
the
ahead of
pandemic.
nothing to do with the pandemic, well ahead of the pandemic. And it was just incredible. And of course, from the pandemic, I'm like, you see, everyone was like, you're a soothsayer. I'm like, yep, prophecies. But yeah, we took about 6 weeks to do the pre-production because it was important to me that everybody who came on board understood what we're trying to create. And I have to say that I did the casting myself and I had a conversation with each and every person who appeared. And for me, it was important because I needed to connect and I needed to feel that you connected to the story and it was saying something to you. And I have to say that every single person brought their A game. I can't thank them enough. I mean, like I'd heard horror stories of people turning up on set without reading the script. So they're trying to, just get through it. I'm like, So I'm having conversations. I'm like, I like the people I'm talking to. They don't sound like that. But I did make sure that I sent out the scripts at least 3 to 4 weeks in advance, just so you can get into the story. And I have to say that they made it easy. They honestly made it easy.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the script, I mean, that was my next question. I wanted to know who is the writer behind it?
Tunde Babalola, he was actually in earlier,
Oh.
but I guess he's got off because he watched it again. He's like, I can't get tired of watching this. So I'm like, okay. But yeah, he was a script writer. So he literally turned my stories into this script, and he absolutely got me. I mean, it was incredible because his first draft he sent to me, I was like, okay, we're speaking the same language. And it's amazing when someone just literally can see what you can't express and express it for you. And it was brilliant. I think the second draft was just me tweaking, okay, add that. And that was it. We did it quite quickly. So that was very, very good. And that let us move forward really quickly. So yeah.
And
But he's
I
good.
also, but in terms, because you kind of, so what you were saying is that you're a bit new in terms of the industry, like you kind of had like this really kind of fast forward track in it, but you're sitting here now with the film, like where you have like some of like the top, people on it, from the actors that you have inside of it. I mean, you have Meg inside, you have RMD, you have, a lot of these
Yeah.
other even like cameo performances, as well as even behind the scenes. I mean, I noticed that you had, I think, Truth
No
did the
Dash.
music.
I had Truth.
You have No
Yes.
Dash as DOP. So
I
I mean, you
had
also can have a lot of
Banjo.
these like
Yes.
top people on both sides. Like, so I mean, you must have been like, I mean, did you go in thinking, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to get the best of the best from
Yes.
Nollywood on this
So-
production?
Yeah, so what it is like I said, it's been 20 years sort of toying with this. I want to tell stories. I mean, like I used to, when I lived here and when I lived in the UK, it would be 3 a.m., eyes propped open, watching the Oscars for many years. So for me, it was, okay, if you're going to do this, first of all, you have to know what you want to do. Second of all, nobody will forgive you. You're too old to be doing nonsense. So nobody's going to excuse the fact, oh, well, she's new, she can do. No, 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 no. You have had time to look and pick and decide how to do things. Fortunately, I've had other careers. I've been managed restaurants and bars. I've, made jewelry. So I sort of tend to come from, it has to be done properly or don't do it. Come correct or don't come at all. And I find that if you do that, people respond in kind. If I tell you to be on set at 7, I will be there at 6:30. So when you get there at 7, you will see me there and I will be ready for you. If I'm not there, then you don't have to show up tomorrow till 11. I wouldn't be able to tell you off because I'm just that sloppy. But if I'm there, even if you're late, you will apologize because you will understand that, okay, this person values my time, Time is money. And we shot it and we wrapped a day early, even though we took a day off in between. That just came after the long night of filming. I thought, you know what? Let's take the day off. We'll make this up later. And we did.
Well, I did. I mean, that's a good segue into what I wanted to ask Meg, because you all were talking about this really crazy kind of like first scene that you all had to shoot in terms of that dinner scene. And as I mentioned before, Meg, you've been in a couple of different things. For you, as an actress, like, what is your, like, how do you plan like that? Do you just block off time when you're working on a particular project, or were you working on this at the same time shooting something else and shooting other ones? Like,
Oh, no.
what is, okay, how do you organize all of that?
I'm not that kind of actor, no. So when I'm on the project, I'm on that project, and I give it time. If it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I'm on that project, because like I don't know how it's I mean, acting is a tough job, like it takes, you are that character mentally, you're really not, I can't function as Meg when I'm on a production. So I can't when I leave set, so a piece of me is still that character till that production is over. So I cannot leave the new normal set, with a part of Meg as Sadia and take to another set. I don't do that. So for that duration while we're filming the new normal, that was all I did, and that's how I work.
And so when you go home and you go to the store, you kind of do you continue your accent and everything and continue?
It helps. It helps. Actually, I have fun with it because then when I talk on the phone with people, it's like, man, what's wrong with you? Like I
Sometimes
do that a lot. It's only tricky when I'm playing like a really dark, deep, and heavy character like the one in the other movie. Then it's very it's weird, because then you don't even get a break from being sad or being depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But Sadia was a lot of fun to play. So I had fun. I had fun being Sadia. It was okay. It was cool being her completely for the duration of shoots. Yes.
And I mean, it just attests to your level of acting, your acting skills, because when you do see, I mean, and I encourage everyone to watch you in For Maria as well, because when I saw you in The New Normal, I did not even connect the two. No, I fully knew who it was and who you were, but it's very different tones. Very, it's like you said in the other one, it's on a much sadder note. And this one, you're perky and is a very more optimistic kind of character. And so that you're able to show your range and that you're able to switch into these different roles. And I mean, so great job in terms of that.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I think there was a question. They said also notice it was on a very positive note. Was it done on purpose? Had relationships being at one. I have to digest that question. I'm not sure if I understand it yet, but I had another question as well. This one, it's a touchy one. So, but everyone's always curious to know what was the budget for the production, because I think it's because we didn't mention that you did have these. You went for the best of the best in all these areas.
So I have to say that I did a lot of talking and arm twisting and getting everybody to please, oh ye please. So I actually did spend about 35 on it. And for me, it was put your money where your mouth is at. So it's taken pretty much everything that I have. And a little, I refuse to count the little extras that went along the way, because you actually can never put everything down. But what I will say to anyone who's trying to do something is, listen, take a look at your network. They're very useful. So you see, my locations would have cost me 3 times that, but I begged, borrowed, tapped into everybody, every single relative. When I'm in your house, I'm looking up, I'm looking down, I'm like, that looks like a nice set. I think that will fit nicely into my story. And I have a really supportive family, I have to say. They're incredible. And everybody just kind of like, okay, Tenny's doing this, that means we're all doing this. So move along and let's get it done. So I literally just tapped into every single person, place. And I also like to do, I had a really good art director in Victor Afrigold. And I'm also, because I also do some interior, so I had to sort of dig deep. When you don't have an excessive budget for what you want, you dig even deeper. And I think that
when you say 30, you said it was 35, right? 35K?
35 million.
35 million. Okay. That was like we were kind of, and then, okay, so 35 million.
Naira, yes. So
Naira, okay.
So minus the little extras that, I'll just, but basically that was it. And for me, I think it was a lot to spend on the first feature, but again, I'm happy because so far we've been here, we've been at ABFF, we've been at Toronto Nollywood, and people who have seen it, I think, have appreciated the effort that's gone into it. And I probably will do some things a little bit differently next time. But overall, I'm actually quite happy. I feel like, yeah.
Okay, so this is your first feature. So
Yeah.
yeah, so very ambitious
Very.
as a first feature. And so I mean
Yes.
we kind of want to know then after that what is first of all what's next for the film? Where do you hope to see it go? And then after that I want to know what's next in terms of, you like are you working already on another project? When
I
can we expect your second feature?
I'm working on a series at the moment and just developing it. I like controversy. So yes, just working on a series that's flipping a lot of things on its head. And yeah, so I'm carefully working on that. And for another feature, I'll take my time. I do want to do a remake of something which is old. And what I want is a story just to see sort of old time, just how, as much as we think we've gone so far away, there's so many things that happened way back then that we're experiencing. And they look new to us because we've got technology, but they were doing it and it was happening. So I'd like to sort of tell a story that sort of shows the beauty of what we had, and just to remind us now that some of those things we might need to sort of retrace our steps, hold on to them. Yeah, we want to change a lot of things, but we can't throw everything out because there are some great things about what our parents did. So it's that kind of story that I would like to tell. So
Okay,
yeah.
so next for you would be you're working on a series.
Yes, and I
And
will.
very controversial, so we'll see your name in the paper a lot. And then for the new normal, is it because you said it came out like at the time when the pandemic
Yes. So
was
for
there?
us,
So
yeah, at the moment we're talking to a couple of VOD, SVOD platforms to get it on, and yeah, so hopefully real soon we'll get it sort of wider distribution and get everyone to see it. So yes,
okay, great.
and
And we're almost and we're out of time. And I mean,
yeah,
I was hoping that your cast would be able to
it
connect
come
back in, but it
back.
seemed like their
Ah,
connection wasn't too good.
yeah,
So I mean,
it's
I'm
raining
sorry.
heavily,
Yeah, I
so
know. I'm sorry
it's
about that they weren't able to
no
say
worries.
anything. But I do want to end on just one last that there is a question
Yeah.
from one of the guests where, and this is like a question that I think comes up a lot. So in terms of the financing, did you self-finance? Did you receive financing? They were wondering how were you able to
I did. I
finance the film?
self-financed, and I got a couple of soft loans, family, and I used part of my savings and just literally put everything together. Like I said, it's been a plan, so it wasn't sudden. It's something that I've toyed with, and when I decided to do it, I knew I had to dig deep because after the production, there's still the selling. You still have loads of to go to the cinema is expensive, so you're still gonna have to cough up with all of the promotions, everything. So what I will say is, again, get what you can at the lowest. Be ready to pay interest, but just make sure that you are doing, research, just research. We all make mistakes, but the more research you do, the fewer the mistakes will be. So I wish you all a pleasant filmmaking journey. And yeah, I'm just happy that I've done this and people are watching and they're liking it. So yeah, I'm happy.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like that's all the time that we have, but I'm really happy that we
Yeah,
were able to connect and we were able to have
yeah.
this interesting talk about the trajectory. Is always great to have female filmmakers, in Nollywood as
Yes,
well that are in,
yeah.
I mean, especially for your first film, and you are encouraged to see what you're going to be coming out with next. We can't wait to see
Thank
your series
you.
as well.
Thank
It looks
you.
like we lost Mig as well due to the connection. I guess you have the
Yes.
strongest internet in Nigeria right now because yours has been smooth.
Look at me. I'm determined.
Exactly. You're using a
Yes.
special connection. So thank you.
Thank you
Congratulations
so
on
much.
your first feature. We're happy to have you in
Thank
the
you.
festival.
Thank you.
And
I'm really happy to be here. Thank
great,
you.
excellent.
And well
And
done on the festival, and great job, great job. It's been
thank you
fun.
so much. And thank you to everybody
Yes.
who tuned in. Sorry
Thank
about the little
you.
mishap before, and for people who are watching in the future. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye-bye.